Please click on the thumbs up button and the subscribe button if you enjoyed my vlog. Bye for now.
Hi everybody, it's the first week in the new year, 2022. I'm at the Carlton Marsh Nature Reserve this morning. Actually it's midday. I'm taking advantage of the beautiful warm weather. I know it's going to be cold in a few days time. It'll be seasonable for this time of the year, but it's very warm at the moment. I don't know if you can hear it, if it's picking it up, the sound, but the wind in the trees. Something I like to hear actually. I don't mind it at all. Some people don't like it. I think it reminds them of danger. So here's one of the old gnarled trees. I think I might have put this one in actually, so you can tell how old it is. Some of these trees down there I put in. And I'm now walking towards an embankment, and this embankment was once for trains to run on. If you look carefully when you're down at the Carlton Marsh site, and I should add that this site is in South Yorkshire, there's two Carlton Marshes near Barnsley, near Jackdaw's Calling. This was once a railway siding, and as I said earlier, if you look carefully you'll still be able to find one or two sleepers on the top. Now for me this is very unusual. I have commented on it before. It looks like duckweed. Unusual for me for this time of the year. It all seemed to, it's usually gone by this time. Of course nature doesn't stand still, and you can see there's work going on down here. Cutting back trees, making make it easier for plants to grow. I know people don't like to go out in the winter weather, but I've got 2 or 3 layers on. I've got a woolly hat on, I've got woolly gloves on, thermal gloves on, and I'm quite warm. And as long as I keep moving around, I should be alright. Thick socks under the boots, and you can see I'm walking towards beautiful sunshine. Be careful on a site like this. You can see it's sludgy underfoot, and it can be very slippy. I have to walk very gingerly at my age. I'm now in my mid-70s, and I used to come onto this site in my mid-20s. Now when you come on a site such as this and you see a sign like that, it's for a reason. And the reason for this one is that there is quite a few plants on this particular field that need protection. I'll not mention what they are, but I think you can get the information if you ever come down on site. One of the things I always wanted to see on this site was more water, and a few years ago some money was found and it was dug out and the soil was piled up around the edges. But I just draw your attention to these trees which were planted to try and hold this very steep embankment up. We planted all the trees along this embankment originally, and I said that, well, when they get mature nobody will be able to see over once the trees are on. So I asked if we could have areas that were trees were cut down, and I'm pleased to tell you that they did that. And this is just one such area. There's a bench dedicated to a friend of mine, a volunteer that used to be on site, and you can see that lots of trees have been taken down to create a good expansive viewing area which gives it a nice panoramic view over the site. So here's another viewing area. This time it's a wooden bench. A sturdy one. Now, one of the technical problems of filming in high winds such as this is that you need something to cover the microphone. I have something, but the ones that professionals use are fluffy ones, and these are known as in the trade as dead cats. I have a dead cat at home. It's too large for this particular camera. I've got the wrong size, and so I'm getting a lot of wind noise. Now I have learnt now that I can edit the wind noise out and speak over it. So it's all things that you need to know if you're going to make your own videos. But I'll explain a bit more about that, making your own videos, in another video. Can't see many people walking on site, but there are. I've just stopped filming as they've come past. A lot of people don't like being filmed. You have to get their permission first. And I found that if I want to take photographs, they don't mind that. So I can mix and match now, which I've only just learned how to do it after a couple of years of trying. I can mix photographs and films as well. But there's one or two people walking around with children, and I switch off where there's children. You have to get permission anyway, but it's impolite to film when people don't like it. So here we are then. We've come to another part of the site where you can see a huge lake, which none of this was on site when we first established the area. I wanted to see all this sort of water on here. Now the interesting thing about having water is that you have to, the cheaper you can make it on a site like this, the more water you can afford to have. Because JCBs, digger men and digger ladies sometimes come on site and they dig all the soil out to a depth of, I would imagine it's about 2 feet. Well, okay, maybe a meter in places. Now what do you do with the soil? The soil is the expensive bit of moving. If you try and move the soil, you've got to have vehicles taking the soil away, and that's very expensive. So the obvious thing to do is to pile the soil up, and here you can see there's 3 areas where it's been piled up in the middle, and it's also been piled up at the sides where the reeds are. Some bulrush in there, some mainly Phragmites. And so when the soil's been put up at the sides, it looks awful at first, and within 12 months of the soil being all open, bare and barren, it looks something like this, which is absolutely tremendous. And it's created a good area for breeding birds, and also kingfishers love it down here. There's plenty of perching spots for them. I had to stop there to speak to some people out with the children. They were very interested in what was going on this site and what I've seen while I've been speaking to them. A moorhen, yeah, just one moorhen, hiding in the reeds. I can see it by eye, but I can't see it with this lens that I've got on. But that's all part of finding out how to make films. There is lots and lots of different angles you can find to make it more interesting for some people, and I will discuss that at some point. And I'll also discuss how to edit your films, but I should also add that I'm Broad Yorkshire speaking person, and I have been told not to try and hide the fact that I speak Broad Yorkshire. But if you can't understand what I'm saying, let me know and I'll put some captions on to tell you what I'm speaking about. So on this section I can see mallards, and what else can I see? I'm sorry, I can only see mallards. But you can see, one of the things about bird watching is, if you can, you need the light behind where you're standing. You get much better views that way, and unfortunately the light is coming from my right at the moment. There's an old friend of mine. I don't think he'll mind me filming him at this stage, if you can hear my voice, that is, because of the wind and various other aspects. Alan is a very good photographer. He's on Facebook if you want to have a look at his work, and I'll get you his page that you can look at and see what he says to me. I'll have to get nearer.
To access Alan's work on Facebook, go to Alan and Robinson.
So we're on another viewing area. You can see the trees have been cut away, and this is the last of the water on this section of the Carlton Marsh Nature Reserve, but there is more water further down, and often I never get further down, but I'll try to do it today. Section of water, you have to cross this little bit here. Be careful, is to stop the motorbikes going through, and if you look down you'll see a bridge, and there's a footpath to the right there which takes you to Cudworth. This was part of the old embankment. You can see there's mature trees on this one. We didn't put, I don't think we put any of these in. I think these were in when we first came on site. I think they may have been stratified actually, because trains came through here with goods in, and we were led to believe that all sorts of things were carried on the trains, so there may have been grain and stuff like that, and when the birds eat seeds, it passes through into the soil and it's stratified into the soil, which helps make the seed grow. So now I have to say that you can see that the film is jumping up and down. I have mentioned it before. It's jumping up and down because I walk with a rolling gait, and the reason for that is that I took a really bad injury in my youth when I was more sporty, and on my knee, and it's caused me problems later on. So I've got a rolling gait, a limp if you like, and that makes the picture jump up and down all over the place. Now I can get around that a little bit by speeding this film up, cutting it out, editing it and all that. So I thought on this occasion I'd just leave it in. Now we're coming down to another section which I'll have to climb over another barrier, and you need to be careful on this one if it's slippy, as it is today. Now we're almost at the end of the water lakes. This is a brand new lake. When I say brand new, it's only been in a few years, and it's there's a viewing area, as you can see. Coming on site for the first time, look out for things like this because they're sticking out of the soil. Now, as the soil gets impacted by people walking on it, roots come to the surface. Well, I'm out of earshot now from the motorbikes. I just thought I'd show you this little walkway. You can see there's a footpath coming up there from the footpath that goes under the bridge that I showed earlier that leads to Cudworth, and you can see that lots of this particular footpath's been altered lots of times, and I think that was probably one of the stumps that we put in. No, I think it's a bit not old enough for that. Right, I've just seen a great chiton and robin on the benches, and in all probability they are getting bits out of the ground where people's been standing and turned these leaves over, and they were actually on the benches themselves at one point. But I was talking about motorcyclists. For years motorcyclists came onto this site, and we used to have some terrible arguments. Blackbird in front of me, and eventually, of course, when the reserve became recognised as a reserve and established, the motorcyclists found other ways through. Because no matter what we did at that time, you've seen those barriers I mentioned earlier, they used to pull them up so they could get through, and we had lots and lots of problems with local people at that time, because this site was just used by them for what they wanted to do, and so it took a lot of establishing to get a new mindset. But once people realised how lovely it was down on this site, in summer in particular of course, and what could be seen, and that there was lots and lots more people walking around as well. Oh, I've just seen a jay. Then the motorcyclists stopped coming on. We did have issues with hides that we built ourselves, and we had issues with hides that were purchased through grants, and thankfully we've not any issues with the hides now either. I did have a key for the hide, but alas I haven't now. I'm unable to be in contact with the people who supply the key. There's nice sights to be seen. This beautiful corner of green when the light's on it. I can hardly believe what I'm seeing here. There's a nest. What could be a coot's or a moorhen's nest. Now I have to ask myself, was it last year's? And is it still being used? I do know that I used them for a long time, because I did a project which followed a nest through such as this for 10 weeks, and then the rains came so it got washed away. So this is either a new nest or an old one. If it's a new nest, it's certainly very, very early. I can see a coot. No, I'm sorry, I can see a moorhen skulking in the background, but I would have to wait quite a while to see if it was putting nesting material out there or not. On the last shot I showed where the nest was, I showed you it was clear water. Well, only a fortnight since, it looked like this, as though it was covered in duckweed. It's a phenomenon I've not recorded before at this time of year. It's incredible, really, to see all that there. Anyway, I'm not going down to it to get better views. Well, I'm at the area of the site where this particular view was once a roadway through for JCBs to get down the side to clear out the dike if it needed it, or if the walls had been broken down. But you can see it's all overgrown now, and it's also a haven for birds to nest in there. And you can see the water on the other side, that's the lake area, other side of the dike. Now it used to be a flash flood area that, and we could not contain water. Once the flood had gone, the water just went its own way, and we couldn't keep it anyway. And also the water was sometimes polluted, and the idea of putting the dike around the edges, which I'm pleased to tell you that was my idea and accepted, I didn't think it would be accepted, was so that any pollutants could go to the outside of the reserve. And also the dike acts as a moat, so people don't go across it onto the reserve like they used to do days gone by. Well, I'm going to leave it there now for this particular vlog. I hope that you've found some interesting information from it, and if you need to know anything, please fill in the comments at the bottom, nice comments that is, and if there's any questions you'd like to know about, please ask and I'll do my best to give you the answers. Alternatively, you could look at the book I've written, which is called The Diaries of a Naturalist by John J. Jackson, and you can find it by going to www.mybestseller, all one word, .co.uk/shop/, and I'm not really sure how much it is now, but it's not all that expensive, and it is cheaper by going online and purchasing it that way.
And if you do buy the book, I hope you enjoyed it. It's a journal about everything that took place on this site when I was down here from 1977 to 1981, and then I went away to do some studies. So if you do buy the book, I hope you enjoy it. All the very best. Bye for now. And by the way, please click on the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. The subscribe button will tell you when I do another vlog, and it will inform you about it, and it's free. All the very best. I hope you enjoy 2022. Bye.